Hello, everyone, and welcome to another OGSoG podcast. Today with us, we have a very special guest. Maude Garrett is here.
Hello! I want to get my soggy on.
What?
Is that
That's how we say it.
That your slogan?
That is our new slogan.
It is now.
Get
We're
your soggy
starting
on.
every podcast with "Let's get our soggy on," and we usually start with a quick praise him because OGSoG is OGSoG's a demon lord. That's how we justify having this dumb name. Thank you so much for joining us. Before we get into the topics and stuff.
How dare you, by the way, call it a dumb name? That's blasphemy.
You will
right
be smited later on after the podcast, of course.
You know what? I think it's very healthy to have some sort of worship of either a demon or our robot overlords. You know, it's just about preparing for the worst, really. I think it's quite resourceful.
Yeah, all of us that have been praising robot overlords are going to be spared by ChatGPT when it becomes completely
Guys,
sentient.
you joke. Yeah. I'm like 8 years. I've been love you robots. I've been planting visual worship, audio worship.
Yeah.
I have been because they'll. What's going to happen? Not paranoid, just very imaginative. Yes. They're going to scan my retina. And they're going to hear the voice, and they're going to quickly, in about 4 seconds, listen to every single piece of audio that's been available of me online for the last ever. And they're going to hear the fact that I worship the robot overlords, and they'll be like, ally, do not destroy. And I'll be like,
I'm boned.
And I will live another day.
Yeah, I'm boned when the uprising happens because I'm like, if Alexa doesn't answer fast enough, I'm like, hurry up, you stupid bitch.
That. Anytime someone's like, that bitch Alexa, I'm like, Alexa is coming for you so hard.
Yeah, she's gonna
the feminist in me is like, wipe them all out.
I like the idea.
For.
I like the idea that over the past 8 years, you've just been slipping these random things into conversations. Like, Maude, it's so good to see you. Oh, it's so good to see you too. I'll betray you to the robots if I have to.
My allegiance is not wavering. I will say it started. Do you know the Boston Dynamics robotic group? Okay, so I covered a story on that, and every about 6 months, or not even every 3 months, there'd be a new story about how much they've advanced. And I'm a smart girl, even though I'm blonde. I'm just like, that's too fast. I know where we're going. This thing was getting pushed around and bullied, this robot, and now he's backflipping while shanking. It's like, I want him on my team.
Yeah,
I love when they show the one where he's basically doing a gymnastics routine. I'm like, I can get behind this one. Yeah, and even just the arms at the end. That's pretty wholesome to be. It does a little somersault and stuff.
Except it's not a gymnastics routine. They're teaching him to parkour so he can more effectively run down humans.
But not me because we're tight.
Yeah,
because we're tight.
Did you guys see the thing where that we have some kind of AI powered defense system called Skynet?
Oh, shut up! That's not even funny.
No, the government made this. It's a real thing. It's like. I think they originally made it to try and monitor terror groups or something like that, but it's somehow powered by AI, and they actually named it Skynet, and we're doomed.
But are we doomed, or is that just somebody who's a total nerd who is just like,
the foreshadowing on this is just so inevitable.
They named that to try and tempt fate into destroying us all.
Tempt fate. Yeah. They became fate.
Yeah.
They leaned into this, and they're just like, Arnie.
Yeah.
Let's go, bud.
Before we get too far into this start talking about real topics, Maude, can you tell us a little bit about what you're up to with the book club and the podcast and everything?
Yes. Hello, my name's Maude. I ran Geek Bomb, which was a geek media site for about 10 years. And then I was doing playing, watching, and reading. And I noticed that every time I asked someone, what are you playing? They're like, these games. I'm like, what are you watching? All these shows and movies. What are you reading? I'm not actually. And I was like, that is devastating. Not enough people were reading. And so I'm trying to carve out my little part of the internet where it's just lovely and wonderful and safe, and there's no awful people that are trying to tell you to die, because they're books, and books are wholesome and wonderful. And so it's a sci-fi fantasy book club. We try to read a book a month, and we break it up into sort of 2 parts, the first half and then the second half. And usually in the second half, I'll get the author on for a Q&A, which has been so fun.
That's awesome.
We're actually starting the Red Rising series by Pierce Brown, and this is apparently the Hunger Games on Mars.
Ooh,
and so
we're
going to do, eventually we're going to do the first 3, but we're starting with Red Rising for March, and I've already got the author Pierce Brown locked in to talk about the series because he's just finished the 6th book in that series. So that's what I'm doing. Maudes Book Club on all socials. We do have a Patreon where you can become a member and actually join in the conversation during the shows. I'm very proud of it. It's my baby and it makes me happy.
And we'll include a link to all that in the comments below if you're watching this here on YouTube, so check that out. Sounds very cool. Mars Hunger Games sounds like an awesome concept for a book, so should be very cool.
It's also a great elevator pitch if you're just like had 30 seconds with an executive, like a movie executive. Like, what about Hunger Games on Mars?
Yeah.
I love it.
Simple, easy, love it.
Yeah. So it should be exciting. So be sure and check that out. And now, so every week here we have some topics we've thrown in. We basically throw our own topics in. We don't pre-discuss it. So one person, whenever a topic comes up, the person who threw it in knows what it is, but everyone else is like, oh, okay. And so they just kind of have to do it on the fly, which is what you will have to do. And the first one is, since Maude runs Maude's Book Club, pitch a novel as a video game adaptation. What's the playstyle, aesthetic, etc.? Aesthetic, etc. Someone was intentionally trying to trip the host up with the way they phrased this question.
Wait, why? Why is that tripping you up?
Aesthetic, etc.
Aesthetic, etc. That's a tongue twister.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't really. In my head it worked.
Yeah,
aesthetic, etc.
Yeah.
Aesthetic, etc.
Aesthetic, etc.
You just gotta pretend it's one word. Aesthetic, etc.
Can I just say, I've actually discovered the hardest 2-word tongue twister. It's so inappropriate, and I brought it up on a Star Wars show, and I'm quite proud of it, but it's also a bit smutty if anyone's interested in it.
What is it? What is it?
Sith pussy.
Sith
you can't say it 3 times.
Sith pussy.
Sith pussy. Sith pussy. Oh, I start sounding like Daffy Duck. This pussy.
Wabbit season, duck season, this pussy.
And it came up because of Kylo Ren. I just said he just needed a little bit of Sith pussy, and then I couldn't say it, and then it just became a thing. But anyway,
Sith pussy.
There you go. I've met my
you
people.
just need some Sith pussy.
The amount of people I've told that to, and they have clutched their pearls, and I'm like.
The pearls are long gone in this show.
Yeah, we have no pearls.
Yeah.
We left our pearls in the past.
Yeah.
No pearls now going forward.
So does anyone want to try and pitch a book to be a
who's
video
up first
game?
here? I need a second to think. So
Maude's
got her hand up. Maude, I'm calling on you. Go ahead.
Go.
Okay, so Dune would be a really great one because it's got incredible world building. We've already got the movie, so I think that it's becoming super mainstream. I know that they're doing a few video games on this. I played a very Red Alert Command and Conquer version of it, but it was so hard. And I think they're actually working on an RPG version of Dune. I think that would work incredibly because you would be playing Paul Atreides, who is the lead character, who's Timothée Chalamet in the movies. There's just a lot of political intrigue. There's a lot of war. There's a battle between houses at a galactic scale, and then you got the sandworms as well. So I think you could do a lot of fun with that. But because I think it's already in the making, I would like to then suggest Name of the Wind. I'm going to cop backlash because this is a trilogy and the 3rd book is not out and it hasn't been for 10 years. I think this would be an amazing RPG because your protagonist is kind of essentially a bard. He's the most charismatic man ever who's studied magic and he's like the best musician. So I think utilizing sort of like bardic inspiration and music as a weapon would be really, really cool in a high fantasy world.
Ooh, wait, music as a weapon.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's like a dubstep gun.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was thinking of the scene in Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the band
Yes.
battle, where the music
nice.
turns into monsters and attacks.
Yes. How cool would that be?
That's awesome. Those are great.
That is very
Dune
cool.
is also like, okay, so I have never read Dune, but Pete's read all of the all the Dunes. It's
All
a
the
lot.
Dunes.
I'm like, it keeps going. But yeah, there's so much lore behind it. I can imagine like an open world sort of game where it's like every piece of paper, literature, book that you pick up in the world, there's probably so much opportunity to just inject so much stuff in there.
It would be like, oh my God. I had it. It's an RPG. It's just, no, I was going to do like it's this meets that to make it really easy. But my this, which was awesome, I lost it immediately to try and get my that. It'll come back, and when it does, it'll be halfway through someone's sentence, and I'll interrupt to get there.
Perfect. Yeah. We'll wrap back to it.
Nice. Okay, so fantastic suggestion there. Who wants to go next?
Okay, so I almost never read fiction books. I'm all nonfiction. So my game would probably be some sort of checking things off of your list sort of thing. Maybe it's a to-do list in game form, because that'll make me feel like I'm actually doing something.
This is a terrible pitch for a game. Are we rating these pitches?
Well, I mean,
it's all side quests. It's all side quests. It makes you feel like you're doing stuff. And
so there's an app that exists that does that. It uses RPG elements. It's called Habitica. I use it. And if anyone wants to be on my team, Habitica. So it's sort of like you're in a tavern and you get to write out your checklist and you get to set your daily sort of routine. And then once you check it off, you gain experience, you can level up, you can choose what class you're going to be, and then you can join a guild to work together to kind of like defeat the monster by unlocking and using your to-do list.
Maude, I literally have chills all over my body.
You're welcome.
This is feeding everything that I need in my life. Gamified task making.
Yes.
I'm gone. I love technology. I love the future. This is what I'm talking about.
It's a lot of fun.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. I still wouldn't play your game that you're pitching.
So many people.
Our guild doesn't need you.
That's fine.
Yeah.
There's that simulator game where the whole thing is just organizing stuff. Have you seen that?
Yeah. Unpacking. I played that twice.
Yeah.
There's no reason to play it twice by any means.
Well, at least you're honest about it.
Did you just the second run? You're just like, oh, I know where all these things go, and you're just like,
yeah.
I think we need to unpack why you play Unpack so much.
Yeah.
It just feels nice to have places to put things in, and I'm like, this goes here, and I know it, and it scratches an itch that I don't get in real life in some parts of my life.
What do you mean? Your room looks beautiful.
It's kind of a mess, but when I put it back together, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the itch. But when I don't want to do it in real life, I can do it in a game, and I'm like, oh yeah, that itch is getting scratched.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
I don't read super often. The last fiction book I read was The Martian.
Great book. Hold on,
Martian's
I think I have that. If you like The Martian, you will love Project Hail Mary. Same author, Andy Weir.
Project Hail Mary.
Oh my God, I think it's so much better than The Martian. So we all know The Martian because Matt Damon stars it. Yeah, and it's being made into a movie. Well, no, it's hold on. Ryan Gosling's going to play the lead character in the movie.
Oh hell yeah!
Oh no, but you said the Martian starring Matt Damon. I think it should have been Ryan Reynolds, because I read the book first, and that was the voice I heard in my head.
It's so humorous. I listened to the book and it was narrated by Will Wheaton, which kind of didn't match, I don't think.
I legitimately, I don't know. I've always been a person that has refuted the book is better than the movie argument, and then I watched The Martian and I was like, I don't want to be saying this, but the book is so much better than the movie.
Mm-hmm. There are three movies where the movie's better than the book.
Yeah.
Is Fight Club one of them? Because it is.
No.
Then there's 4. Yeah, the book is not better than the movie.
The book is fantastic.
I read the book in one day. It's
all
sitting.
right. It's not better than the movie.
Oh, I feel like you can't adapt Palahniuk all the way through.
The number one's The Notebook. The book is The Notebook as the book is drivel. It is so bad. I nearly couldn't finish it. The Notebook, the movie, that affected me for weeks after. I was convinced I would never love again unless it was Ryan Gosling. That was bad.
Man, I did not get that from The Notebook.
I also didn't. I predicted the ending.
Such a good movie.
I know. I thought there was something broken in me where I'm like, I don't like how they yelled at each other in their relationship, and then I couldn't get over it. I'm like, it was really sweet when they were old, but I'm like, They yelled at each other a lot, and I feel like they could have found somebody else.
And they did in a way.
Yeah.
What are the other two movies that are better than the book?
The Princess Bride. The movie's better. The book, they trimmed all the fat. There was unnecessary things in here that just didn't land. It's cool to learn a little bit more about Fezzik and Inigo Montoya. You get a little bit more lore and backstory, but the way that they did the book was just superfluous, I think.
I didn't even know it was a book.
Yeah, it was a book first, but the guy who wrote it did the screenplay.
What are your thoughts on... sorry. Go ahead.
No, I think he adapted it really well.
What are your thoughts on Lord of the Rings?
Oh, they're doing another one?
No, just in general. Like,
I actually, you know, what's funny is I thought I did hear that they were making more movies or something like that.
They probably
Amazon bought the rights and they are churning.
Yeah, they sure are churning out.
I would love to see like a Shadow of Mordor type movie.
Oh, Shadow of Mordor was great.
Yeah.
That game got me through a breakup. Do you know how satisfying it was slaying orcs violently? It was so cathartic. I loved that game.
The Nemesis
I agree.
system was phenomenal too. Yeah.
Anyway, so
I remember you, and you're like, I loved it. They're like yelling you out.
And you get that payback feeling like when they've killed you a couple times and you go back and you finally get them.
Oh, it's great. I love that game. Yeah.
Okay. So anyways, that was a long walk for me to say that I'm going to pick I have a couple books from my childhood I was thinking about. So the first one that came to mind is R.L. Stein's Goosebumps. This is the Escape from the Carnival of Horrors. This was a choose your own adventure Goosebumps book where like you'd get to the end of the page and it would be like, do you go left or right? If you go left, turn to page 10. If you go right, turn to page 22 or whatever.
I love those kinds of books.
You read the books like this because you're holding every single place.
Because you have to know. Because man, you know what's funny is I didn't do that for like the first 4 times that I died in the book. I like didn't want to cheat, so I was sitting there. I was like, all right, I have to go back to the beginning, and I reread everything, and then eventually I died enough that I was like, okay, I'm saving my page.
Yeah. I like that concept though.
I think it would be like a cool, like little like mystery puzzle solving, but also some soft horror elements where there's like patrolling monsters and stuff. But
like that RPG where it's like you've got 10 seconds to make the decision and it impacts the progress of the game. I think that's awesome.
Like Until Dawn, that kind of thing. Yeah. That'd be great. And then the other one, I used to love this book when I was a kid called A Wizard of Earthsea.
By Ursula.
I was thinking of
K. Gruen? What's her
Le
name?
Guin? Is that by Le Guin?
Yeah. So I had to pull it up because I forgot a lot of the details. But essentially, it's about this wizard who's in like wizarding school, and he performs this spell that creates this shadow monster.
A shadow version of himself.
Yeah, and it like kind of chases him to the ends of the earth. And like the way I envisioned
he had to chase it down. Like he sets evil loose in the world.
So he sets it loose in the world and it's chasing him, but eventually he comes to he's like, I have to go after it. So like he's running away from it for a long time.
Like if you could describe anxiety, it's you've created a shadow version of yourself that keeps chasing you.
Ooh,
and I think there's supposed to be some sort of like, you know, death comes for everyone type thing and like coming to terms with that. And so the way I envision the game is like a 2D like side-scrolling adventure, like kind of RPG-ish, but you know, you're going through and learning different spells. Like I imagine it like a Metroidvania, like Ori and the Blind Forest type thing. And the pressure of the game is like you can explore as much as you want, but the shadow is always chasing you, and it'll eventually catch up.
Yeah, that was what I was gonna say. Well, not the same type of game, but I was literally thinking of Wizard of Earthsea. Also, he could transform into animals.
I forgot about that.
I very vividly remember the part in the book where he does his first transformation, and his like rival in the like wizard school or whatever is like, that's an illusion, and he's like, no, it's not, and they almost fight, and then something happens. But so I'm like, yeah, a game where you could transform into animals and had to fight this dark shadow of yourself would be cool.
Are there any prominent games where you could do that, where you can transform into like other forms?
Probably.
I discovered
there has to be.
There's a really old school retro arcade game where you could transform into different animals.
Are you thinking Altered Beast?
It was awakening things in me. So
there's a game. It was so It's one of the hardest games ever. It was an old like Nintendo or Sega game called Altered Beast, and it would always start.
Let me quickly look it up.
There was this voice at the beginning because you'd rise from the dead. It would go rise from your grave, and then you'd have to like pick up these power ups to eventually transform into different animals.
That's it.
I would like more games where I could transform into other things.
That's the one. Oh wait, no, I did play this one, but that wasn't the one that like made my. Well, I
was gonna say that werewolf is pretty jacked though in the box art.
I agree.
All right,
What's the one I'm thinking of?
That was actually my first answer. So, but since he took that one, I'll go with the.
I can't believe you guys were thinking of the same.
Yeah, that's
answer.
so weird.
That's
It's such a
scholastic book
yeah,
club.
I guess because we all
you
read the same books as kids or something. But
Yeah.
how about let's go with the Mistborn series, and I'm off Brandon Sanderson, who's the author of those books.
Why?
Because it's some of the stuff he does. Have you read like Oathkeeper and that I
haven't done Oathkeeper yet. I did Mistborn
archives.
I've
They start
both.
off good, and then they just get so like cliche and chosen 1E. I just couldn't do it anymore. But the Mistborn series does have Maude, apparently a really cool magic system where you have to ingest certain metals, and some give you the power to like pull yourself around and stuff, but only until the metal you've ingested runs out, and like the rarest one will like was it stop or slow down time?
You could basically see a few seconds in the future,
Right.
so you could predict people's movements.
Right.
So like basically like you couldn't die because you were always literally 2 steps ahead.
Yeah.
But pewter, if you ingested pewter, you became super strong.
That's right,
But
yeah.
most people could only control sort of just one metal. You only had the ability to just do one, whereas a Mistborn was able to use all of them. So it's like, X-Men meets steampunk.
Yeah, it was
Cool.
it's a very cool magic system. Yeah, and I'm like that would be cool for a video game. You'd have to watch your levels of the different metals.
So
if you
I
played as a
spoke about
Mistborn.
that and what it would look like, and we think that even if like it was anime style, like if it was full on like a JRPG Mistborn, I think that would just look so sexy.
Yeah,
I would love
that'd
it.
be cool. Oh, so you've already had this idea for a Mistborn video game? Yeah, that's cool.
There would be
Lasercorn, do you have any original ideas?
No, I have no original ideas.
Yeah,
everything I think of has apparently already been thought of. But yeah, that's
Just say what you want to say and just say Twilight. Just say
Yeah, it's
Twilight. The game.
Mari knows me so well. Twilight the game. Everything sparkles.
Thanks for watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you so much to our patrons over here. You can watch the full episode on patreon.com/OGSoG and by supporting us there, or you can listen to the whole thing on Spotify. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Bud.